All right, my peoples, we are live right now. Good night to everybody. I hope everybody has a blessed day. You know, I just want to give the praises to the Most High God all the time. I hope you guys are doing well. As you can clearly see right now, we're talking about boxing. We're going to talk boxing, and I'm grateful to be here today. I'm going to watch your guys' comments in the chat section. Today, we're talking about Erislandy Lara versus Brian Castana, and also Luis King Kong Ortiz versus Christian Hammer. All right, let's start off with the second one, Christian Hammer versus King Kong. All right, a lot of people I've been watching, you know, the Boxing Voice, and I believe Beeb and Company Limited have their ringside reporter that they're doing their discussion on this right now as well. But I just want to add my little two props and shout out to them. I want to just add my 2 cents to the whole equation on my channel, but involve you guys in the chat. In this case, I prefer that you guys are part of the process, you know, part of this, where you guys can actually talk about this as well. I've been also looking at some other channels like I think it was D3 and some other channels which are really cool out there that have been covering boxing, and they got some decent followings and stuff, which is really cool. Before I go on, you can always donate to my channel. To donate to my channel, you'll be sending me via either Western Union or MoneyGram. I'm always happy to accept donations to the channel, keep it running, and we will keep on talking about boxing. You know, I always talk about the Lord Savior Jesus Christ come first, but other than that, we're going to talk some boxing. You know what it is, guys. All right, so let's start off with Erislandy Lara versus Brian Castana. You know, Castana, sorry. As advertised, you know, Brian Castana brought that heat. I remember Boxing Wave saying, you know, he's not a guy to be slept on. He brought some heat. Now, I realize Brian Castana don't really have that kind of pop and that kind of power. So that's the only thing that he kind of missed in the fight. But he brought the tenacity, he brought the heat. You know, he would in between Erislandy Lara's shots, he would have a counter, or he would slip in off the counter. Kind of remind a little bit of a Sean Porter in some ways, where he kind of counters off of your counter. So he would come, but he doesn't just counter in terms of throw a counter, but he would counter in terms of physically closing the gap on you, and then he would throw a barrage of shots to different parts of your body. So most of the shots would be blocked, but then he'd come up with a nice body shot, like a liver shot or a spleen shot. And so Brian Castana, he was showing me that throughout the fight, he was bringing the pressure to Erislandy Lara. It wasn't like Erislandy Lara could just pot shot him and get away, you know, because Brian Castana kept on closing the distance on Erislandy Lara. I thought Erislandy Lara handled himself pretty well, but a fight with that kind of tenacity, a fighter with that kind of tenacity, that kind of pace, because that kind of fighter is kind of more, you know, has more amateur experience, more amateur background, got a lot of energy. So he'd be bringing the heat the entire fight. He's not as rough and tumble and scrappy as Sean Porter, but he kind of reminded me of that. You know, Chris Eubank Jr. is, I think, a lot more of a raw, crude version of that. So Chris Eubank Jr., but basically Brian Castana, he was bringing the heat, throwing a lot of shots, keeping a lot of pressure on Erislandy Lara, not really backing up. Not a whole lot of his shots are landing on Erislandy Lara, but he's bringing a lot of pressure, a lot of heat, a lot of, and not in your typical way. Like it's more of a, you know, some pressure fighters, right? Like say for instance, Gennady Golovkin or any pressure fighter, right? Generally, they bring the heat by, you know, they will take a lot of punches. They come with their high guard. They take a lot of punches, but they're not really quick per se, right? Gennady Golovkin more deals with his timing. You know, I remember El Perro Angulo would deal with his timing, so he'd keep his guard up, and then he'll find you. He'd corner you to a corner. And once he peg you in, then he'd come in on you, right? You know, even though Gennady Golovkin's kind of a counter off of your shots too, or sets you up for certain shots by throwing feints or whatever. Well, Brian Castana is not that. Brian Castana is quick. Brian Castana has a lot of speed. He has a lot of quickness, not just in throwing punches, but he has a lot of foot speed. So he can get into position on you and then throw his shots. And he's a little bit straightforward, kind of like reminds me of Sean Porter a little bit, in that he's very quick off his feet. And once he's very explosive, that's the word I'm looking for. Gennady Golovkin is not really an explosive fighter, You know, when you think of Pedro Angulo, you don't think of an explosive fighter. You think of a grinder, right? Gennady Golovkin got deceptive speed, but he's not like explosive. Canelo, on the other hand, is explosive. Danny Jacobs, on the other hand, are explosive fighters, right? They just like boom, and you before you could blink, they already threw a combination on you or a shot on you, and you know they're quick. They're quick. They're explosive. There's a difference between quick and explosive, but that's another story for another day. So when I was looking at Brian Castano, he was like aggressive. He wasn't getting really hit with a lot of shots from Erislandy Lara either because he kept on keeping his high guard up. So Lara basically had sometimes some shots he could land to the body, right? Most of his straight shots were being blocked by Castana's high guard, right? I think it's Brian Luis Castana, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, so when I was looking at the fight, Erislandy Lara was in the fight because he's still sharpshooting. He was still landing a couple of sharp shots. Castana was kind of riding it or blocking the shots, and Castana would come on him. Now, the thing about it was, similarly, Castana wasn't really landing a lot of shots because Erislandy Lara got a good defense. So what was happening was that when Brian Castana threw some shots, it mostly blocked, but he would always land like a body punch. You get like a liver shot in there, a spleen shot in there. He did land some overhand rights on Erislandy Lara, and Erislandy Lara did land once or twice a straight left throughout the fight. But at the end of the day, when I look at the fight as a draw, I was like, yeah, what I liked about the fight, in most Erislandy Lara fights, are fights in which they can be really boring to the casual fan because Erislandy Lara be on the back pedal. In this case, Castana was on him. You know what else Castana reminds me of? He's reminding me of, and this is gonna be a good fight, trust me. It reminds me of Adrian Granados. Adrian Granados gonna be on you like, you know, like a tick. You know, Granados is not as explosive as, say, Castana or Sean Porter, but Porter and Granados and Castana are those kinds of fighters. They're on you, like they're not gonna let you up. They're always in your face, throwing body shots and stuff. They're not gonna let you escape and just pot shot them from a distance. And so that's the kind of fighter that Castana was, and he made Lara fight every second of the fight. And to Lara's credit, he used some of his boxing skill and stuff to make Castana miss a lot. But at the end of the day, the draw I thought was fitting because I thought Lara still handled Castana well enough and had good enough defense and was still doing his thing and still pot shotting him places, you know, to allow for the fight to be what it was. And Castana was, you know, both of them were, you know, doing their thing. Castana was hungry. He was doing what he needed to do. Shout out to you, No Phase Gaming. What's popping, brother? Well, boxing's what's popping. So talk to me, man. Let's talk some boxing. Yeah. So, you know, Lara was trying to keep him off with the jab. You know, he's trying to keep him off and head control him. We couldn't hand control him because Castana keep on changing levels or bobbing and weaving the slip or slipping and sliding certain shots. So Castana would get on the inside. Lara will shell up. You know, certain shots would be missed. Lara will catch certain shots, and then he would like counter. You know, and so it was a good, again, a lot of skill. Castana was totally game. You got to give Castana his props. I thought that the fight as a draw was a fair account of things because at the end of the day, Erislandy Lara was doing his thing. Castana was doing his thing as well, you know. And in the end, they kind of counterbalance each other. You think about it. You think at the end of the rounds, they weren't scoring a lot of punches on each other. Castana was doing a lot of good body work at a certain point. He would basically he would catch Lara with certain shots, and like on the inside, you know, when Lara throw a shot or something on the inside, Lara would try to shell up, and then Castana would just be working the body. Or sometimes Lara try to clinch, Castana just will not have no clinch. You can come up overhand right over Lara's head and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Castana wouldn't let up. If you're in a clinch, Castana would still be working through the clinch. You know what I'm saying? He'd be working them, and I like that. I like about Castana. And that's where I think Castana mostly scored his points. Lara more sharpshooter on the outside, did his thing. Couldn't really keep distance and range, but he was still slippery on the inside and still had his shell up. So what I'm saying is most of the boxing match from what I saw, and when they were not in clinches and that kind of stuff, or not too close to one another, kind of cramped for space. I like that they fought on the inside too. They kind of inside fought each other. Castana really had the advantage on the inside. You know, he would land most of his body shots or his head shots, especially when Lara kind of is trying to not push him off him, but they're just in close. Castana would mostly be successful then. Land some really ripping body shots too. But again, Castana don't have that pop. The problem with Castana is he don't really have that heavy solid, because he tried to use flurries a lot. He flurry a lot. His punches don't really have that snap that is necessary to really, you know, dig into the body shots. So that was the problem with Castana. Shout out to KP from KC. What you think of Errol Spence? Skill level. That's a nice one. Let me just look to the side here. The skills he showed versus Peterson makes me see him stopping Mikey, because Mikey wants to use timing. And then KP from KC says Mikey has skills. Broner has skills. Broner nor Easter couldn't bring it out. Errol is much better and more disciplined than those two. Yeah, Errol has mad skills. I mean, if you just look at some of the fights that have led up to the final fight, right? Errol Spence has mad skills. KP from KC, shout out to you, and shout out to No Phase Gaming again. Yeah, Errol Spence got mad skills. Look, I'm not disregarding Errol Spence, right? His skill level is high, and you can see it when how he approaches even attacking an opponent. He doesn't just come straight in on an opponent. He doesn't just. He's not Antonio Margarito. He comes in at an angle. There's a science to what he does. He comes off the jab. He has a decent jab, very decent jab, a power jab at that. Will push you back if you don't watch yourself. His thing is, once he gets to the inside, he starts throwing that sweeping left to the body. I mean, he really rips those hooks. He's a hooker, kind of like Gennady Golovkin, but he really hooks, man. He really puts leverage into his punches. And so once he sees an opening, he really hits you with a Errol Spence don't spare no thing. If he sees an opening, he's gonna rip to that opening. That's the thing with Errol Spence. He would just rip to the opening. He would rip a left hook or a right hook. He catch you with a right hook too. You know, he's gonna rip that shot. You know, he sees the opportunity, he rips it. He's very aggressive with that. So he got a lot of skill. I mean, Errol can fight off the back foot. He can fight off the front foot. You know, he can do the pivot thing, and he can set traps for you and walk you around the ring. So it's not that we're not denying Errol Spence's skill. Okay, it's just that Errol Spence is a very strong fighter. He's very, very strong. You can just look at him physically. He's a very strong fighter. What we're looking really at is he can rough you up in a very short time. He can really rough you up. All right. Now the thing with Peterson was trying to walk to Errol Spence. See, in the Peterson fight, Peterson decided to just walk to Errol, and you don't ever do that. What you got to look at is Chris Algieri fight, where Chris Algieri, he started stepping around Errol, and he had success. Then Chris Algieri got comfortable, and he decided, man, I'm going to walk to this guy. And that's when things went south for Chris Algieri. Until then, when Chris Algieri was using his footwork and just doing textbook stuff, what you're supposed to do against a southpaw, Errol couldn't find Chris Algieri, and Chris Algieri was just turning Errol, okay? So here's the thing. Errol could decide, okay, you're trying to turn me? Okay, I'm going to let you come to me, right? So Errol could change the strategy with Mikey, for example, and say, okay, oh, you think I'm just going to walk you down? Okay, well, it depends. I may walk you down if I find that you are trying to run away from me and set traps. I may walk you down. Okay, maybe. Or I may let you come to me. So it depends. You know, Errol's a guy that can do a lot of different things in that ring. And if people don't realize that by now, he's got good boxing IQ. His trainer really has done an excellent job with him. So I'm not. And so KP from KC, I'm just saying, I know this guy has mad skills. He didn't just get to championship level. You saw what he did against Kell Brook. Yes, he got tagged with some punches against Kell Brook. You know, Kell Brook landed some really beautiful headshots on him. But don't get it true. He made some adjustments with Kell Brook, and that's what made him turn the tide. Okay, but he's strong. You see, a lot of people are getting confused. Errol Spence is strong. That doesn't mean that because he's strong, he can't box, or he only does one style of boxing, or that. He's got a lot of dimensions to him. Now, having said that, Mikey Garcia has proven to us that he can do all those things Errol can do. He can fight off the back foot, and you just can't find Mikey. You just can't find him, right? He can also, and he's done it textbook ways against opponents. All right, Mikey Garcia also can fight off the front foot. He can just stand toe to toe with you and fight you. So Mikey can do various things. Now, in his last fight that he had at junior welterweight against the IBF world champion, he got his nose bloodied by the dude. All right, if you guys pay attention, Mikey sometimes in the later rounds sometimes gets tagged up. So Errol could say, oh man, you know what, I'm gonna wait till the later rounds to get Mikey. He could do that too, right? It depends. It's whatever happens in the fight. So if you wanna know what the breakdown is, I think Errol's gonna try and box Mikey, and Mikey's gonna try and box Errol. All right. But Errol's gonna first, I think early, Errol's gonna see, he's gonna test out Mikey to see if he could bully him and if he could walk him down. And if that don't work, then he might change up. You know, you just never know. It's on the night of the fight, that's when these guys are gonna actually know what they're gonna do. But they've been training for that point. And the point behind it is, if they prepare themselves well enough and they want it, one of them's gonna win. That's why I said, if you ask me about Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence, first of all, I don't see. Okay, that's another point. I'm gonna talk about a bunch of things, but I gotta get back to the boxing and these fights so I can come back to what you're saying. I can show you guys why I think Errol is not going to stop Mikey. I'm going to explain to you guys why, okay? But first, let me get back to the boxing that we were talking about here, which had to do with Erislandy Lara versus Brian Castana. Now, if you think about it, Brian Castana was motivated to beat Erislandy Lara. That's a big name. That's a guy that's done a lot. So this guy from Argentina gets this shot to face this known opponent in the United States of America. That motivates a boxer. That's what boxers live for. When you got a motivated boxer coming in to fight a fight, the level of the game is totally different, which leads me to Luis King Kong Ortiz versus Christian Hammer. Christian Hammer clearly was up for the fight with Luis Ortiz. The dude was motivated. He was like, King Kong, I want to fight that dude. This guy came into the ring wanting to fight. He was not going to get knocked out. That was never going to happen. A lot of people are saying if Deontay Wilder was in there, he would have knocked him out. You know, if AJ was in there, he would have knocked him out. But Tyson Fury did stop him. He retired in his fight against Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is an excellent boxer, right? But my point being, and I was early in his career though, but my point being anyway, this dude came to fight. Okay, Christian Hammer. And what I saw was it was a boxer. I knew from the time I saw round 3 go by, I said, you know what, this fight's going the distance. I could see why. Because that dude came to fight. He came to fight that night, and he felt he could beat this dude. He could even stop the dude, and he literally wobbled Luis King Kong Ortiz a couple times. And Luis King Kong Ortiz was boxing brilliantly. But when this guy threw his right hand, very rarely did he miss Luis King Kong Ortiz. So this guy had been doing his homework on King Kong Ortiz. He knew how to throw the right hand to land it on King Kong Ortiz. Up to the last round, the 12th round, when Ortiz tried to crash him, he was still landing that straight right. And I knew from then on in, Luis King Kong Ortiz was never going to stop this dude. He was coming in hard the last 40 seconds, sorry, of the round, the final round. He was coming in hard on the dude. The dude still remained standing. So I knew. And the dude had pretty decent reflex, but he was getting really hit by Ortiz. And still, dude wouldn't go down. And they were saying, go to the body, go to the body. People say, well, you probably should have gone to the body more. This dude was not going to let you, he was not going nowhere. It's like Gennady Golovkin. Canelo came in the second fight thinking he could stop Gennady Golovkin. By the 10th round, they realized this was not going to happen. Gennady Golovkin was not going to get stopped. There are just certain people, when you're motivated a certain way, when you have a certain mindset, nothing's going to. Deontay Wilder, he hit Tyson Fury with a shot that was supposed to knock this dude out, right? He caught him with a beautiful right hand, right? And then he caught him with a left hook, slamming him down. How did Tyson Fury come off that canvas? Certain people, you can't just stop them by normal, natural means because their minds are made up. And once your mind is made up, when people are motivated like that to beat another opponent, to succeed, it's very hard to beat that opponent, because mentally, you can, as you saw in the case of Tyson Fury, even severing their brain from their body, their senses from their body, does not guarantee you that you will beat them. That's how mentally strong some of these guys are. Okay. And it just so happened, just like with Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson, Christian Hammer wasn't going nowhere. Now, having said that, that's what I see in Mikey Garcia. I see a dude that's going nowhere. This is not a fight where this is not your typical fighter. Mikey Garcia is mentally tough, a very mentally strong fighter. So for me to say that Errol Spence is going to knock out Mikey Garcia is for me to discount all that body of work Mikey Garcia has done and proven time and time again, every time he moved up in weight class to fight a bigger, stronger guy or a number one guy, that you should not take him lightly. On top of that, just thinking of the Robert Garcia gym and what the RGBA gym does, you would be mad to think that Mikey Garcia is just going to get stopped by Errol Spence just like that. It's not going to happen, right? Besides all of the boxing IQ that Mikey has, okay, and all of the evidence that proves that this guy has proven time and time again he can go up in a weight class and beat a bigger, better fighter who is a world champion or the best of that weight division. Besides that bulk of evidence behind there, you got the trainers that can make it happen. These are the trainers behind Marcus McDonough. These are the trainers behind Josecito Lopez. These fighters come in strong, right? So physically, Mikey Garcia says, you know, Errol Spence is going to be the stronger fighter and all of that. Maybe on paper. But I know Mikey is being prepared to ensure that he's strong enough to absorb punches that Errol Spence will bring to the table. You understand what I'm saying? And Errol Spence is a wonderful hooker. I mean, the dude catch and hook, right? But he's going to find it hard to find Mikey at certain points in this fight. And there's other times he's going to find him, and Mikey going to handle that. All right? And a lot of people are underestimating the punching power of Mikey Garcia as well. So mentally, I just don't see Errol Spence knocking out Mikey Garcia. I just don't see it. Because Mikey he's motivated for this fight. This is the fight that gets his juices going. He's eager for this fight. And you see, when you have a motivated fighter like that going into the ring, there's no fear in them. They do their homework. They're meticulous with what they do. They're the people, they leave no stone unturned. They know why they're going after this opponent. They've studied this opponent. When people done their homework like that and they're motivated, it's a different kettle of fish. Errol Spence is going to realize that when he goes in fight night. This is not the same kind of opponent like other opponents he's faced. So for those people who, that's why I said, and I said it all along, and I keep on saying it again and again, if Errol Spence is going to face Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence is going to learn a lot. This is a learning experience for Errol Spence. This is a step up for Errol Spence. Mikey Garcia, he's seen this before. Maybe not on the scale and the strength level. And even I say he's seen the skill level already. He's seen a skill level like this. But in terms of strength level and size, he's not seen that before, right? But he has seen something like what Errol Spence has done, and he knows exactly what Errol Spence is doing because he himself does the same things. So you got to understand, he may, on paper, be coming in as the smaller guy. But in terms of what Mikey Garcia brings to the table, which a lot of people don't, I think all you have to do is go back and watch his fights, right? And you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see little ingredients, little snippets of what he brings to the table, little pieces. He never put it all together, but he'll put some of it together in this fight so you can see what this guy can do. Because he can do a lot of stuff. And I'm saying again, if Errol Spence thinks Mikey can't hit, he going to learn real fast Mikey can hit, okay? So that's not something Errol Spence, I mean, he puts a lot of leverage into his punches, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I looked at, you know, when they did the punch output stuff, Errol Spence threw a straight left. He got I think the number was 888 was his number. Right? Right. Danny Garcia hit the same bag. Okay, Danny Garcia came up from junior welterweight. Danny hit 938 with his right hand. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to explain to you. Gervonta Davis hit that same bag, 937. Gervonta Davis basically hits harder than Danny Garcia and Errol Spence. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So just think about what I'm saying here. Mikey Garcia, I don't know what he hits. I don't know what he never hit the bag, so I don't know. But my point being that, you know, a lot of people think Errol Spence is a killer because he don't got one punch knockout power. Errol Spence don't have that. Okay. What Errol Spence does is he breaks you down, and he does hit you hard, and he'll hit you with great force and stuff and break you down. And that's what Errol Spence does. Okay. He doesn't have one punch knockout power. Okay. See what you're saying there. So Mikey has skills. Broner nor Easter could bring it out. Errol's much better, more disciplined than those two. KP from KC says, check out the move he did for the knockdown where he controlled Algieri's head and then got the knockdown. Yeah, but the knockdown came after Algieri started engaging him. See, you're looking at the final product, but there was a beatdown before Algieri got the knockdown, before the knockdown happened. So there's a lot of things that went on. Algieri changed. Algieri started going toe-to-toe with him, thinking he could mix it up with him on the inside. He should have still turned him and kept on pot shotting, kind of like what King Kong Ortiz did. When he realized he could get caught with something coming straight in, Ortiz started circling. He started circling Christian Hammer. That's what Algieri should have been doing. He should have been circling Errol Spence and keep on pot shotting him. That's what he should have done, but he didn't do that. KP from Casey says he was taking really small steps to counter Kel from timing him. Yeah, I know. I saw he made some little adjustments. Yeah, it was a good fight. Kell Brook versus him was a good fight, and he was going to dust Kell Brook, even if the eye orbital thing was just an excuse to get Kell Brook out of the game. But he was going to dust Kell Brook. He was going to dust him. KP from Casey says Lipinets. Yeah. When Danny Garcia first Sergey Lipinets. Yeah. KP from Casey says Hammer got game. The timing was perfect for the right hand. Yeah, man. It was dangerous, man. It was dangerous throughout that whole entire fight. He was live. From round 1 to round 10, he was live. It would be nice if it was a 12-rounder. We'll see how it'll pan out. But KP from Casey says he used a lot of control tactics to stop Ortiz from killing him. Yeah, he would stick out that left hand, pour it out, stuff. Yep. Head control, all that stuff. Yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, man, you know you're boxing, man. You know you're boxing. KP from Casey says, I'm taking Arrow by KO 8th round. I wish you best of luck, man, KP from Casey. I ain't happening. He ain't stopping Mikey. I'm telling you, he's not stopping Mikey. And he gonna try bully him. Mikey's a different kind of fighter. You're gonna learn. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. And don't forget, Mikey has stopped guys. He has dropped guys with counter punches. Mikey will counter punch you and drop you. All right. So, like I said, this is not the same kind of fight. You know, Errol Spence has fought Kell Brook. Okay, he fought Kell Brook. But other than that, he ain't really fought somebody with that pop. You know, Peterson's not known as a knockout artist. He's not known for pop, really. Peterson is a tough guy. He's strong. But he's not really known for pop. All right, and Peterson can sometimes just start to absorb punishment and come straight at you. He can box you, but he can come straight at you. I can guarantee you Mikey's not just going to come straight at you, okay? That's for one. But Mikey can catch you with a shot and put you down. He's done it before, okay? And that's another thing. I like Luis King Kong Ortiz realized this other guy was counter-punching him, so he started to move. He started to use his footwork. Errol will try to probably use some footwork as well with Mikey. But what Mikey been training for, which is what Errol doesn't understand, he been training to be quick and faster than Errol. Everything Errol is going to do, Mikey's going to strive to be first. Errol's going to strive to be first too, right? And he's going to learn really quickly. Mikey's going to be quicker than him. And Mikey's going to be able to be first before he does. And remember, this is a science of boxing. It's about hit and not get hit. So Mikey's going to try and get in there, hit Errol, but not get hit. Set up Errol, counter him, and not get hit. So Mikey's going to try and do that, block whatever punches you need to block, whatever. And then he's going to work his way in. So it's not going to just go. It's kind of like what do you guys see Canelo versus Triple G, right? Canelo versus Triple G is going to be a cheaper version of what we're about to see. We're going to see guys. Canelo has more skill than Mikey in certain areas. In certain areas, again, Mikey has more skill than Canelo. Okay. So you're going to see a faster version of Canelo versus Golovkin part 1, but not necessarily will Mikey be on the ropes or just allowing Errol Spence to miss a lot of shots all the time. He going to make Errol pay for everything. Errol's going to have to earn this fight. He going to learn. It's going to be a tough fight, man. It's going to be a tough fight for Errol Spence. This is a step up in levels for Errol Spence. And I hope he does well. I would like to see him win the fight. But to be honest, I would like to see Mikey win the fight because it would be nice for Mikey. I mean, it would be huge. But I also don't mind Errol Spence winning the fight. I don't really have a horse to call in this race. You know what I mean? So either way, I would like Mikey or Errol to win the fight. I'm cool with whoever wins. Whoever wins the fight, I'm cool with it because I think it's a 50-50 fight. I don't think this is a fight. Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev. It's a different kind of fight, but still, smaller guy coming up fighting the bigger guy. That's what Mikey's doing. You see, it's a cheaper version but with more skilled fighters. What I say by cheaper version, Sergey Kovalev was established in the division as the man in the division because he beat Bernard Hopkins. He beat Jean Pascal. When Ward came up and forced Kovalev, I was like, nah. I knew Ward could beat him, right? That was a close fight because Ward got dropped. Mikey versus Errol Spence is that kind of fight. Mikey's coming up really from junior welterweight to welterweight to face Errol Spence. Yeah, you can count the lightweight fight in between, but really he's coming up from junior welterweight to welterweight. That's what he's really doing. And it's gonna be an interesting fight because once Mikey does what he's supposed to do, technically speaking, if he technically does what he's supposed to do, he should be a step or two ahead of Spence, mainly because he's a smaller guy. He can carry that speed up with him, and he's working on speed anyway. So he gonna have that speed. Spence is pretty explosive. Mikey's kind of explosive, but he's not as explosive as Spence. Maybe he'll be more explosive this round. We'll see. I want to see if Mikey carry the power up with him. I think he will because he's with a training camp. That's what they do. But Garcia's gym. So I expect Garcia and they to have Mikey prepared to deal with an Errol Spence. So that's why I said I don't think Errol Spence is knocking out Mikey. Now, can he outbox Mikey? We'll see. That's the question. It's going to come down to boxing skills, who can outbox the other guy. So he has attributes which should assist him in beating Mikey. He's longer than Mikey by a couple inches. He's taller than Mikey by a couple of inches. Maybe he should utilize those things. But if Mikey got the skills to get on the inside of Errol Spence, it really won't matter. And Errol Spence is not really an outside boxer. He's not really a sharpshooter from the outside. He's really an inside fighter. So he kind of negates those qualities at a certain point, even though he sharpshoots from a distance. So he may throw the jab, but he's really trying to slide on the inside to work the body. Whatever Errol Spence is doing, because Errol Spence loves to get on the inside, Mikey has to make Errol Spence do what he doesn't want to do. Similar, Errol Spence has to make Mikey do what Mikey doesn't want to do. And they have to make each other uncomfortable. And to do that, you have to basically direct the traffic. You have to control range to some degree. You have to control the shot selection of your opponent. And there are many different ways to control that. I'm just going to give you two. One is you can punish them for utilizing, say, for instance, a jab, or you can punish them for utilizing their favorite shot, which may be a left hook or whatever. The other way is to take away the shot by, at the moment they're about to throw the shot, because you should know if they may telegraph it or they may have a certain way how they throw the shot. You either change range or you be first and you shoot the shot over their shot. It's called being first. There's being first. There's counter punching. There's punishing a guy or teaching a guy not to throw a shot. There's also changing range. So you could either you can nullify it by either changing range and the shot, or you can try and block the shot, or you can ride the shot. That's another thing. A guy could throw a shot with great leverage, but you ride that shot. You rode it. When you ride a shot, you take all the steam off the shot. But to ride a shot, there's a special skill to ride shots. And Canelo knows how to do it because he can move his upper body, his torso, as well as he can move his head. So he can ride shots. So you could throw a perfectly placed liver shot on Canelo, and he would ride it because he'll let his whole body roll with the shot. He won't. Okay, so let me demonstrate what I'm talking about so you guys can see. So I'm just get up here, right? So you're seeing my lower body. Hopefully you're seeing this, right? Now most people, they catch shots. To catch a shot, I got my elbows here. I bend in like this, and I catch the shot as you're throwing up. Say you're throwing a left hook into here, right? I catch it. But riding a shot is if I throw my left hook. So my left hook is coming. This is my left hook here, right? It's a left hook, right? This is my body here. But instead, when the hook is coming in here, I roll the hook. I roll the hook. So the roll the hook is to turn your body like this. You're turning with the hook. As the hook comes, I turn with the hook, and I turn upwards with the hook. That changes the way how the hook hits me. And Canelo, because he moves his upper body a certain way, he can do that. All right? And that's a skill. James Toney used to do that too. You could catch it too. And the thing with it is, if a guy, for instance, if he throws a shot at you, for instance, right? He throws a shot at you, a hook or whatever. You could ride that hook and then come back with something else, with another shot, because you got all that momentum this way. If I say you threw a left hook on me, right? And I roll the hook like this, and I can come back with my own hook, or I could come back with an uppercut or something. You know what I mean? Because I built up all that energy to come back the other way. So it's just, boxing is I try to explain to people boxing, because boxing, it's a beautiful art, man. It's a science to the thing. So yeah, King Kong Ortiz, man, and Christian Hammer, man. That was a good fight, man. It was a good fight. Lots of skill involved. So people were saying that Anthony Joshua would have probably knocked out Christian Hammer. But the thing about it was, Christian Hammer was motivated to face King Kong Luis Ortiz. And I'm thinking, if I ever got a title shot at the unified champion of the world, which would be Anthony Joshua, I would be even more motivated to face that opponent. You got to understand. I think a lot of times people don't understand certain things, right? Take, for instance, okay, Buster Douglas, right? Buster Douglas got to be beaten by a number of different people, right? He was motivated, but he wasn't as motivated to face those guys. He fought world champions. He got beaten. One or two of them stopped him, right? But when he had the opportunity to face Mike Tyson, the terror of the world, just the fact that somebody got that label, terror, motivates a fighter. Boxers are actually motivated by the fact that the reputation of a certain fighter by the public is a fearsome fighter. Real fighters, they like, let me get a piece of that. Oh, he the dude? Okay, let me get a piece of it, right? That's what happened with Mikey Garcia. He got motivated by knowing that this is the guy, this is the boogeyman that everybody's been ducking. So Mikey Garcia's like, okay, he the boogeyman? Let's go then. When you get motivated like that, you get motivated like that, it's different, okay? So Buster Douglas, he got motivated to face Mike Tyson. He got dropped by Mike Tyson, right? And then he turned around and dropped Mike Tyson, and he dropped him horribly, right? I mean, dude was looking for his mouthpiece after us, knocked the mouthpiece out of the guy's mouth. So I'm just saying, when you're motivated, it's the motivation of a fight. You have to think of the mental mindset. And some of these fighters, they can't get up for every single fight. But these particular fights that they get up for. And so if Anthony Joshua, for instance, is okay, Anthony Joshua is going to be fighting Big Baby Miller. Now, I don't know how motivated Jarrell Miller is for getting a title shot like that. If Jarrell Miller is really up for it, he's talking and everything, but if he's truly motivated, and he's truly motivated, it'll show in the fight, because he got the skill sets to get on the inside of a guy like Anthony Joshua. He actually has that skill set to do that. All right. Whether he'll utilize and it'll pan out like that, I don't know. It depends on how motivated he really is. Because if I land a deal like that, or I can't talk about me because I'm not a fighter like that. But if you get an opportunity to do something like that, you have to think of that as a once in a lifetime opportunity. Some of these guys, they get up for fights like that, and that's it. For their entire career, they was up for that fight. Take, for instance, Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn was up to face Manny Pacquiao. Watch Manny Pacquiao's whole career and everything, right? Up to face Manny Pacquiao. The only thing Jeff Horn probably does in his career besides knock out Anthony Bourdain, who was very old, is he beats Manny Pacquiao. That's on his resume. That's his resume for the rest of his life. He was one of those guys that beat Manny Pacquiao. He could say that. One of the rare ones that beat Manny Pacquiao. All right? The guy was up for the fight. He almost got knocked out in the 9th round, almost got starched, but he was up for the fight. And anybody saying he didn't win that fight, they wasn't watching, because he was. And he didn't do it through boxing. He did it through every possible way he could, which was mauling, closing the distance, getting right up in Pacquiao's face, cramping him for space, tying him up, roughing him up on the inside, landing some rabbit punches. He was doing everything he possibly could to win against Manny Pacquiao. And that's how he got the win, because Pacquiao couldn't get off the shots he wanted to get off. And he, while he was sloppy and everything, and he wasn't really landing on Pacquiao clean, he was the more active fighter. If both fighters ain't scoring, you got to look at the more active fighter. That's how Jeff Horn won that fight. He was up for that fight. See, when fighters are up for a fight, and that's what, a lot of people don't understand. When Mayweather had those 2 fights against Marcos Maidana, hey, I'm saying again, man, Marcos Maidana was motivated, again, from the RGB gym, right? From Robert Garcia's gym, right? Marcos Maidana was motivated in the first fight, especially. Highly motivated. Okay? You saw what Marcos Maidana did to Adrian Broner. And everybody talking about how AB's a joke, blah, blah. Now, AB was a terror. Okay? And AB still is that fighter in many respects. He just, the Maidana fight, I think, took out of him a bit of that invincibility that he used to have. So as much as AB talks and he's arrogant and everything now, or seems arrogant, or is clowning or whatever, Marcos Maidana pretty much broke something inside of him, whether he wants to admit it or not. But Adrian Broner is still a force to be reckoned with, right? You saw how he fought against Manny Pacquiao. He was beaten every single round. And certain points of the fight, he was kind of dominated a bit, but he wasn't beaten like Jesse Vargas. He wasn't dropped. Chris Algieri, he wasn't destroyed. You know what I mean? He was competitive. So when you look at, and to face a guy like Manny Pacquiao, you got to be on your A game, right? Timothy Bradley got dropped twice by Manny Pacquiao in the last fight they had. So I'm just saying, AB did very, very well when you think about it, compared to other fighters that have faced Manny Pacquiao. All right, just because Jeff Horn was able to, use other means and methods to kind of beat Manny Pacquiao, where, Marcos Maidana tried that and some against Floyd Mayweather, and it didn't succeed, which shows you just what kind of fighter Floyd Mayweather is. But I'm just showing you, when you have a motivated fighter, you have to be more motivated and more hungry than they to get the win. And you're not going to get the kind of results. A lot of people say, well, this guy beat this opponent better than this guy. Well, you got to look at, was the opponent up for that fight like he was for other fights? A lot of people say, for instance, when they were looking at Luis Ortiz versus Christian Herrick, it looks like Luis Ortiz missed a step and he's getting tagged and he's getting old. No, it wasn't that he was getting old. It's that his opponent was motivated to face him. Christian Hammer was never going to get knocked out of there. He wasn't going to get stopped by Ortiz this round. That was never going to happen. That was the dude came in to fight, and he came in to win. All right, and that was just what it was. Similar, people want to talk about, Shane Mosley. Man, he destroyed. He destroyed Antonio Margarito. But then when he come into the fight with Floyd, he grew old. No, it wasn't that he grew old. It was that he was not as motivated as he was when he was fighting Antonio Margarito. Wasn't as motivated. Came in, landed his best shot on Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather came back in the same round, started landing body shots on him, tightening up his stuff. And then the very next round, super sharp on him. It took everything out of Shane Mosley. Every time Shane Mosley tried to throw a punch, Floyd countered him and punished him. And it took his soul out of him. Shane Mosley's a guy that loved to bang. He loved to bang with you. But he couldn't even bang with Floyd. You know what I'm saying? It took his soul out of him. And that was it for Shane Mosley. I mean, he fought the fight with Sergio Mora in a higher weight class. Wasn't the same Shane Mosley after that, And it's because Shane Mosley's a dude, it beat the life out of the dude. He kind of sucked the life out of him. So Shane Mosley's never been the same fighter since then, right? He still had a lot of heart against Canelo. They thought Canelo was just going to stop him, and that didn't happen. And he had a lot of heart. He's taking a lot of beating. Take a lot of blows from Canelo, right? So that's what I got to say about that, and just cover all three things there. Yeah, man. We got some more viewership here. Yeah, man. I want to hear what you guys thought about the fights though tonight. I wanted to know what you guys think about the fights tonight. What you guys thought about Lara versus Castana, and then Luis Ortiz versus Christian Hammer. Before I wrap it up, call it a night. 9:59. It's almost 10 o'clock. Yeah, man. What do you guys think? It's a lot about boxing. I think a lot of people don't know, and I wouldn't call myself I would not call myself a boxing expert by any stretch of the imagination. I think people who actually do boxing are more boxing experts. I would not call myself. I think of myself as a casual boxing fan, but these days saying casual boxing fan is really when they say casual boxing fan, what they really mean is ignorant boxing fan. Because a casual boxing fan is somebody at least watch a boxing match or two. Ignorant boxing fans, which people they don't watch boxing at all, and it's just because it's some big event that people associate themselves with that. I don't really call those casual boxing fans. I don't even think they're boxing fans, to be honest with you. A boxing fan at least follow boxing, in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, I think of myself as still a casual boxing fan because there's a lot of intricacies to boxing that you guys have no idea how complex boxing is. But if you guys don't, I'm gonna give you a shout out to Eric Bradley, the Fight Doctor. Check out his channel, Eric Bradley Boxing, Master Boxing it's called. Eric Bradley Boxing. You guys should check that out, and you see how intricate boxing gets to be. And you can't really learn boxing unless you do it. And you can't really learn boxing if you don't actually enter an actual boxing fight and actually fight. I've got a background in martial arts, but I've never really entered any official boxing match or boxing fight. I've never really been in one. But I could tell you from little fights I've had with different people and stuff, it's a lot more complicated. It's talking boxing is one thing. Actually doing boxing is another thing. You know what I'm saying? And you should really do boxing. If you want to call yourself some kind of qualified person with boxing, you at least should have boxed at some point and try to be in some kind of official event. That's the way to really understand how boxing is and how complex it really is and stuff like that. It's good to train and all of that too. That's cool too. But at the end of the day, the thing that really makes boxing is if you actually have been doing boxing. And if you've been a professional boxer, it's totally different to just being somebody like me talking from the outside. So that's why I usually talk boxing based on what other professionals have said. You won't really hear me talking my own words. I might explain some things that I've seen, Anyways, man, it was nice talking to you guys. If you guys have any other comments, KP from KC, shout out to you, brother. And No Phase Gaming. It's nice to see you guys coming through the stream. I was happy to actually be a part of this, actually do this with you guys. All praise and glory be to God always. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ, man, he's been merciful to us all. Man, I can't even explain how unworthy I am sometimes of his grace and mercy, and just all the time, actually. So anyway, man, hopefully we can get this popping. And you see in the background there, that's my keyboard, my instruments. I do music as well. So if you guys need any music and stuff, just let me know. Again, on this channel, we don't have any online resources to be able to collect monies online. If I had, I'd ask you guys to pay online. But you can always donate to my channel through Western Union or MoneyGram. Just letting you guys know again, I can always give you guys the details if you want to do so. All right, man. Peace to you guys. Have a good one. I'm out. Gotta look to the side. My screen is on this side. All right, man. Peace.